All right, so you just mentioned God City. Talk about the name, how you came up with it, some of the major players,
Yeah,
and what it stood for and the impact it had on Charlotte's art scene.
man. So the core, the original, there was six of us originally that would meet up and talk, but when the group was actually formed, it was four of us that were the founders, and that was Antoine Williams, John Harrison Jr., Marcus Kaiser, and myself. Um, we just kind of built it out of a necessity, man. We would go to these art galleries and see work that, again, wasn't reflective of where we came from, wasn't reflective of the experiences of people beyond, a certain group, the so-called elite. And even the idea of what fine art was, it was like, come on, man, like there's so much more to art than this. Why is this all that's shown, especially in our city? You know what I mean? So we used to watch, and according to who you talk to, you may get a slight different interpretation of where the name actually originated from. But we would watch the movie City of God all the time.
Hmm.
And that movie had such an impact on us because it was reflective of where some of us came from, but it also showed hardships that went beyond where some of us came from. And then there was just this cool story wrapped up in all of it and a certain beauty in the chaos. So we just started trying to figure out a name that that would resonate with people. And New York is the Big Apple, and everybody knows Atlanta and Texas and Georgia. So it's like we want people to know Charlotte. So we kind of came up with the God City name, and the God mathematically aligns with the 704 area code of Charlotte. So G being the seventh letter, a circle being a complete cipher in life, and then D being the fourth letter. So that's where we got our God from, and then just through the city on the end. And we started running with it, man. We started branding ourselves. We started doing clothing and events and just whatever we felt like was missing, rather than wait or ask somebody to give it to us or help us. We just got out and started putting it together. That we felt like, why sit and wait and ask anybody for anything? We're overlooked anyway. We might as well go out here and make the noise ourselves. And that's what we started doing, bro. And then we were one of the first groups, because we come from where we come from. We tried to make sure, before being inclusive was cool, we tried to make sure that we found people whose voices weren't heard and gave them an outlet. Our first art show, we probably had about, I don't know, maybe like 15 or 20 artists, and we didn't ask them for a dime. We just said, bring your work to this gallery on this day. We paid for the gallery, we paid for the marketing, we handled all the promotion. All they had to do is show up with their work that told their story. You know what I'm saying? And we continue to do things like that throughout our time because we felt like it was just important. Everybody needed to be heard in some form of fashion, and representation was important, which today we hear that even more than ever. But back then, that wasn't the case. We got told that one of the stories we always tell is being told by a gallery they couldn't afford security for us.
Hmm.
And I'm like, yo, it's an art show. This ain't a concert. This ain't, no, whatever you think this is. Like, it's an art show. Would you tell anybody else that? No. But because it was four young Black guys talking about bringing people from a variety of backgrounds and voices together to do something, and our first show was called The Art of Hip Hop, it was automatically a negative connotation to them. You know what I mean? So we understood it. We just went and rented. We said, rather than ask for permission, we're going to rent places out and do what we want to do. And that's what we started doing.